There are moments when heaven does not wait, when God does not delay, when the response is so immediate that it bypasses human logic and time itself. This is one of those moments. Archangel Michael speaks with clarity and authority now, because what you are about to hear is not symbolic, not distant, and not meant for someone else. Heaven just responded to something you did, not something you planned to do, not something you almost did, something you already did. And the response was so powerful, so precise, that God immediately released a miracle with your name on it. This message is arriving before the manifestation on purpose, because preparation is part of the miracle. Opening this now is not curiosity, it is alignment. What you must understand first is this: heaven does not react emotionally. Heaven responds legally, spiritually, and deliberately. When God moves, it is because a law was activated, a signal was released, or an alignment was completed. Archangel Michael is revealing that a move you made, quietly, perhaps without applause, maybe even without full confidence, send a signal straight into the heavenly realm. Angels recognized it. The courts of heaven acknowledged it. And God himself responded without delay. This is rare. This is not everyday spiritual language. This is not exaggeration. This is an immediate response to an authentic act of obedience, surrender, courage, or faith that crossed a threshold. You may not have felt powerful when you did it. You may have questioned whether it even mattered. You may have done it tired, uncertain, or emotionally worn. But heaven did not measure the moment the way you did. Heaven measured the heart behind it. Archangel Michael says that what made this move so impactful was not its size, but its purity. There was no manipulation in it, no performance, no demand. It was real, and real faith moves heaven faster than loud faith ever could. This is why the response was immediate. God did not need time to decide. The moment your action registered, the release followed. A miracle was authorized, not a general blessing, not a vague breakthrough, a specific, targeted intervention with your name on it. This is critical to understand, because many people miss what is coming simply because they assume it is meant for someone else. Archangel Michael is correcting that now. This one is yours. It carries your assignment, your timing, your identity. No one can intercept it, and no one can replace it, and no delay can cancel it. The reason this message is urgent is because timing matters on both sides of heaven and earth. God has already moved. Heaven is already in agreement. Angels are already in motion. But your awareness is the bridge. This message is not here to scare you or rush you. It is here to align you, to help you recognize that what you did was not small, and what is coming is not accidental. When heaven responds this fast, it means a window has opened. And when windows open, preparation determines reception. Archangel Michael says many people pray for miracles but unknowingly resist them when they arrive, simply because they do not look the way they expected. That is why this message begins with awareness. Before it arrives, you must know it is coming. Before it manifests, you must be spiritually positioned to receive it. Opening this message before it arrives is not coincidence. It is protection. It prevents confusion. It prevents fear. It prevents you from dismissing divine movement as coincidence or luck. There is also something deeply personal about why this miracle carries your name. It is connected to a season where you felt unseen, a moment where obedience felt costly, a decision that required trust without reassurance. Heaven recorded that moment. God did not overlook it. And when the response came, it came with speed because God wanted to show you something, He is not distant from your effort. He is not slow to respond when the heart is right. He is not ignoring what others fail to notice. Archangel Michael speaks now to correct a lie you may have believed, that nothing changed when you made that move. That lie ends here. Everything changed. Something shifted. Something aligned. Something open. You may not see it yet, but heaven already has. And when heaven moves first, earth always follows. This is why you were drawn to this message. Not because you were searching for encouragement, but because your spirit recognized confirmation. Something in you already sensed that a line had been crossed, that a decision carried weight, that obedience had consequences. This message is the confirmation. Heaven heard you. Heaven responded. And heaven released something that cannot return empty. As you listen now, do not analyze. Do not overthink. Simply receive the truth of this moment. God is not testing you. He is honoring you. Not because you are perfect, but because you were willing. And willingness is what activates heaven's fastest responses. Archangel Michael says this clearly. The miracle is already in motion. This message is arriving first so you do not miss it when it comes. Archangel Michael now draws your attention to the move you made, the one that shifted the heavens. This is where many misunderstand divine response, because they assume heaven reacts only to grand gestures, public declarations, or dramatic sacrifices. But heaven is far more attentive than that. What you did may have looked ordinary on the surface. It may have been quiet. It may have been unseen. It may have been a decision you made alone, with no applause and no guarantee of outcome. Yet in the spiritual realm, it was seismic. It was a line crossed. It was alignment achieved. This move was not about perfection. It was about positioning. You chose obedience over comfort, integrity over convenience, faith over fear, or surrender over control. Even if you hesitated, even if your hands were shaking when you did it, heaven recorded it as a decisive act. Archangel Michael says that what caused heaven to respond was not the absence of doubt, but the presence of trust despite doubt. That is what made this moment so powerful. Many people wait until they feel ready before they act. But readiness is not what moves heaven. Obedience does. You acted when clarity was partial. You moved without the full picture. You said yes when the outcome was uncertain. That is why heaven responded immediately. When God sees faith in motion, he does not delay his hand. He accelerates it. There is something else you need to understand. The move you made corrected a pattern. It interrupted a cycle. It broke agreement with something that no longer had permission to stay. Archangel Michael reveals that this was not just a forward step. It was a severing. Something that had been lingering, draining, or delaying was spiritually confronted the moment you acted. Heaven recognized that you were no longer asking for change. You were becoming the change. And that distinction matters. This is why the response was so swift. Heaven does not argue with alignment. When your action matched God's will, resistance lost its authority. That is why things may already feel different, even if nothing external has changed yet. Peace may have quietly replaced anxiety. Clarity may have begun to surface where confusion once lived. Or there may be an unusual stillness inside you. These are not emotional fluctuations. These are indicators of alignment. Archangel Michael also wants you to know that heaven noticed what others dismissed. Perhaps people around you did not understand your decision. Maybe they questioned it, minimized it, or overlooked it entirely. That did not matter. Heaven saw the motive. Heaven weighed the cost. Heaven measured the courage it took to move when staying would have been easier. God is not influenced by human opinion. He is moved by the heart. This is where many people begin to doubt. Right after obedience, the enemy often whispers, "Nothing happened. That didn't matter. You made a mistake." But Archangel Michael is correcting that lie now. Something did happen. Something shifted. Something was authorized. Just because heaven moves first does not mean earth reveals it immediately. There's a sequence, and you are now in that sequence. This is also why engagement matters in moments like this. When a message resonates deeply, it is not just information, it is confirmation. By liking this message, by subscribing to this channel, by sharing it with someone who needs encouragement, you are not helping a platform. You are agreeing with truth. You are declaring alignment publicly. An agreement strengthens reception. If this message is speaking to you, take a moment to engage with it now. Let that action be another signal that you are present, aware, and ready for what God is releasing. Archangel Michael says the move you made created spiritual momentum. Momentum is powerful because it carries things forward even when you are resting. This is not a season where you need to strive harder. It is a season where you need to remain aligned. The work that mattered most has already been done. Heaven is handling what you cannot. Angels are moving where you cannot reach. God is orchestrating details you do not see. Do not minimize what you did. Do not downplay it. Do not rush past it. Honor it. Recognize it. Because heaven did. When you acknowledge what God has acknowledged, you step into agreement with a miracle instead of standing in its way. There is also a warning here, spoken gently, but clearly. Do not try to recreate the move. Do not overact. Do not add pressure. Obedience is not something you manufacture. It is something you respond to. The moment has passed, and it was completed perfectly. Your role now is not to repeat it, but to trust what it activated. Archangel Michael says that heaven is not asking you for more effort right now. It is asking you for awareness. Pay attention. Stay sensitive. Remain open. The miracle with your name on it is approaching, and it will recognize you by your posture, not your performance. What you did mattered. Heaven responded, and the release is already in motion. Archangel Michael speaks now with urgency, not to alarm you, but to protect what has already been released. There is a warning in this moment, and it is subtle, because the greatest losses in the spiritual realm rarely come through obvious attacks. They come through misinterpretation. Heaven has responded, the miracle is in motion, but many fail to receive what God releases because they misunderstand the season they are in. This is why discernment matters now more than ever. The first danger Archangel Michael reveals is assuming that because heaven has moved, nothing is required of you. This is not a call to effort, but it is a call to awareness. When God responds quickly, it often means the window is precise, the timing is intentional, and the posture of your heart determines how smoothly the miracle enters your life. Heaven is not chaotic, it is order, and order requires alignment. Another danger is interpreting silence as absence. After divine movement, there is often a quiet space. This is not delay, it is stabilization. God is setting things in place. Angels are coordinating assignments. Circumstances are being adjusted behind the scenes. If you mistake this stillness for inactivity, you may be tempted to interfere, question, or rush. Archangel Michael warns that unnecessary interference can create confusion where clarity was already forming. There is also the risk of distraction. When something significant is approaching, distractions often increase. Not because you are failing, but because your focus matters. Small things may suddenly feel urgent. Old patterns may try to resurface. Familiar doubts may whisper again. None of these mean the miracle is threatened. They are simply indicators that something valuable is near. Archangel Michael urges you to remain centered, not reactive. One of the most subtle dangers is false humility. You may feel tempted to say, "This can't be for me," or "I don't deserve this," or "Maybe I'm imagining it." While humility is powerful, denying what God has clearly released is not humility. It is misalignment. When heaven assigns your name to a miracle, it is not asking for your opinion. It is inviting your agreement. Receive without argument. Archangel Michael also warns against overexposure. Not everyone needs to know what you sense or what you are expecting. Some things are meant to be carried quietly until they arrive. Protect your anticipation. Guard your peace. This is not secrecy rooted in fear. It is wisdom rooted in timing. What God is doing is delicate, not fragile. Still, discernment keeps it undisturbed. You may also feel a temptation to look for immediate proof. Signs are comforting, but faith does not depend on evidence. Archangel Michael reminds you that confirmation often follows reception, not the other way around. If you wait to see before you trust, you may miss the grace of this moment. Receive first. The evidence will come. This warning is not about threat. It is about stewardship. Heaven has already said yes. Now your role is to stay aligned with that yes. Keep your thoughts anchored. Keep your words steady. Keep your spirit open. You are not being tested. You are being positioned. There is something else Archangel Michael wants you to hear clearly. Do not compare timelines. Do not measure your journey against someone else's outcome. Comparison distorts perception. What God is releasing for you is tailored specifically to you. Its timing, its form, its impact are all intentional. Comparison will only blur what is meant to be clear. As this message unfolds, notice what is happening inside you. If something feels steady, grounded, or quietly certain, that is alignment. If something feels rushed, anxious, or pressured, pause. Heaven does not rush what it has already secured. You are safe to rest in this moment. Archangel Michael says this is a threshold season. What you do not misread now will serve you for a long time. Awareness today prevents confusion tomorrow. Stay present. Stay open. Stay grounded in trust. And hear this final warning wrapped in assurance. Do not abandon expectancy just because the miracle has not arrived yet. Expectancy is not impatience. It is agreement. Agreement keeps the door open. Hold on. What comes next changes everything. Type "I receive" with clarity in the comments if this resonates with you. Lesson code 314 is now activated. This moment you are standing in is not just for you. It is meant to reach others who are still waiting for confirmation. As you sow into this mission, you become a carrier of light, releasing oil into lamps that are flickering across the world. The Lord is saying, "What you place in my hands, I multiply for souls." I feel led to invite you personally to take part in this work now. When you support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are opening rivers where dryness once lived. Your obedience in giving becomes a prophetic act, and I speak blessing over every seed you release. Obey now. Your support is unlocking someone else's miracle, and the PayPal link and QR code are waiting for your response. Archangel Michael now draws back the veil to reveal the exact moment heaven shifted in your favor. This was not a gradual build-up or a slow consideration. It was a precise spiritual instant, marked and recorded. Heaven moves with accuracy, And when God responds, it happens at a defined moment in time, even if you were unaware of it then. While your natural world continued as normal, the spiritual realm paused, acknowledged your alignment, and released authority on your behalf. This moment did not require noise. It did not require witnesses. It did not require your understanding. It required only your alignment. When your decision, action, or surrender crossed into agreement with God's will, the response was immediate. Archangel Michael describes it as a legal transaction in the heavens. Something was authorized because the conditions were met. Not because you earned it, but because you positioned yourself to receive it. Angels were assigned in that instant. Not generically, but intentionally. Each assignment carried instruction, timing, and purpose. Some were dispatched to adjust circumstances. Others were sent to guard the process. Still others were released to influence conversations, opportunities, and unseen variables that would make room for what God had released. This was not symbolic. This was operational. What is important to understand is that heaven did not wait to see if you would stay confident. It did not wait to see if you would feel strong. God responded to alignment, not emotion. Many believe heaven waits for certainty, but heaven moves on sincerity. Your sincerity opened the door. Your honesty before God mattered more than your confidence before people. This is why the shift happened even if you felt unsure afterward. Doubt after obedience does not cancel alignment. Fear after faith does not revoke authority. Archangel Michael emphasizes this because many wrongly believe they disqualified themselves after the moment passed. That is not how heaven works. Once something is authorized, it remains authorized unless God himself withdraws it, and he has not. There is also something significant about the timing. Heaven did not respond late. It responded exactly when it needed to. You may feel like you are late, behind, or delayed in life. But heaven is not operating on your emotional timeline. It is operating on divine precision. The shift occurred at the only moment it could have without disrupting what is coming next. What feels slow now is actually synchronized. Archangel Michael reveals that part of the shift involved restraint. Not everything that was released was meant to manifest at once. Some things were held back for protection. Some details were delayed for clarity. Some outcomes were staggered to prevent overwhelm. Heaven is not just powerful, it is wise. What God releases, he releases with sustainability in mind. You may begin to notice subtle changes that trace back to that moment. A conversation that took a different turn. An opportunity that unexpectedly closed or opened. A sense of peace that arrived without explanation. These are echoes of the shift. They are not coincidences. They are confirmations that something real has already taken place. Archangel Michael also speaks about timing versus worthiness. The shift did not happen because you suddenly became more deserving. It happened because the time was right. God's timing often aligns with our growth, not our perfection. You reached a point where receiving would no longer harm you, distract you, or pull you away from purpose. That is when heaven moves. Another key detail, the shift was not just about adding something to your life. It was also about removing something. Some burdens lost their grip. Some limitations lost their authority. Some delays lost their justification. Even if you cannot name them yet, they are already weakening. Heaven does not always announce what it removes. You simply notice that what once held you no longer does. Archangel Michael says this shift also marked a transition in responsibility. You are not being given more weight to carry. You are being trusted with more clarity. What once confused you will soon make sense. What once felt heavy will soon feel manageable. This is not because the situation changed, but because your position did. There is peace in knowing that the most important movement already happened without your effort. You did not have to strive for it. You did not have to convince God. You did not have to wait for permission. Heaven recognized alignment and responded instantly. Now, you stand on the other side of that moment. Even if nothing looks different yet, everything is different. The shift has already occurred. What follows is not uncertainty, it is unfolding. And unfolding takes time, not because God is slow, but because wisdom is careful. Archangel Michael leaves you with this assurance. You did not miss the moment. You were present. You were aligned. Heaven responded, and what was released in that instant is still moving toward you now. Archangel Michael now speaks to the question that has been quietly forming in your heart, even if you have not put words to it yet. Why does this miracle have my name on it? This is not a generic release. It is not a shared outcome. It is not a blessing meant to be divided or diluted. What God has authorized carries your identity because it is connected to your journey, your endurance, and your obedience in ways only heaven fully understands. There are moments when God releases miracles broadly, and there are moments when He releases them personally. This is personal. Your name is attached because your story is attached. Heaven does not separate outcome from process. What you walked through, what you endured silently, what you continued to believe when evidence was missing, all of it became part of the authorization. This miracle is not a reward, it is a response. Archangel Michael reveals that your name was written on this release because of consistency, not visibility. There were seasons when you showed up without recognition, seasons when you stayed faithful without affirmation, seasons when you did the right thing even when it cost you emotionally, relationally, or spiritually. Heaven records those seasons. God does not forget quiet obedience. He honors it precisely. You may wonder why others who appeared more confident or more vocal did not receive what you are about to receive. The answer is not comparison. It is calling. What God is releasing now is not compatible with everyone. It requires the kind of heart you have developed, the restraint you have learned, and the discernment you have gained. If it had come earlier, it might have overwhelmed you. If it had gone to someone else, it might have been misused. This is why it has your name on it. Archangel Michael also speaks about identity alignment. This miracle matches who you are becoming, not who you used to be. God is not reinforcing an old version of you. He is supporting the new one. That is why some things had to fall away before this could be released. Certain attachments, expectations, or identities could not coexist with what is coming. Heaven waited until the alignment was complete. There is also a deep reassurance here. No one can claim what has your name on it. No one can take credit for it. And no one can redirect it. Even delays cannot cancel it. Heaven is precise. When God assigns something to you, it recognizes you. It will not confuse you with someone else. It will not arrive at the wrong door. It will not miss its destination. Archangel Michael wants you to let go of the fear that you will somehow miss this miracle. That fear does not come from God. When something is assigned to you, it carries guidance with it. You will recognize it when it arrives, not because it is loud, but because it will resonate. There will be a sense of rightness, even if it stretches you. That recognition is part of the design. This miracle also carries restoration. Not necessarily of what was lost, but of what was depleted. There were moments when you gave more than you received. Times when you poured out without being refilled. Heaven noticed the imbalance, and this release addresses it. God is not only restoring outcomes, He is restoring strength. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this miracle is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to position you. It will not pull you away from purpose. It will anchor you deeper into it. It will not elevate you above others. It will stabilize you within your calling. What God gives you now will increase responsibility, but not burden. It will bring clarity, not confusion. There is also an element of protection tied to your name being on this. Because it is personal, it is guarded. Not everyone will understand it. Not everyone will have access to it. That is intentional. Some things are meant to be shared later, not immediately. Heaven protects what is still forming. Archangel Michael says this is why patience feels different now. It is no longer heavy. It is expectant. You are not waiting in doubt. You are waiting in awareness. That shift alone is evidence that something has already changed. Expectation rooted in peace is a sign of divine alignment. Let this truth settle. God did not release this miracle because you asked perfectly. He released it because you align honestly. Your name is on it because your heart was in it. You were not overlooked. You were chosen intentionally. As you move forward, carry this assurance with you. You are not hoping for something random. You are preparing for something assigned. Heaven knows exactly where you are, and what has your name on it knows exactly how to find you. Archangel Michael now addresses something that may have confused you recently, the resistance you felt after heaven responded. This resistance was not a sign that something went wrong. It was not proof that you missed God. It was not evidence of delay or denial. In fact, it was confirmation. Resistance often increases right after alignment, not because the miracle is threatened, but because its authorization has already taken place. Many people expect peace to arrive instantly and permanently once heaven moves. But the spiritual realm operates with layers. When God releases something significant, opposing forces do not attack the blessing itself. They attempt to disturb your posture. They aim for your focus, your confidence, your patience. Archangel Michael says this clearly. The resistance you felt was aimed at your perception, not your promise. You may have noticed old doubts resurfacing. Familiar fears knocking again. Thoughts that sounded like, what if nothing happens? Or what if I misunderstood? These thoughts did not originate from truth. They emerged because something real was activated. Resistance does not show up where nothing is happening. It shows up where momentum exists. Archangel Michael reveals that the pressure you experienced was proportional to the significance of what was released. Small releases encounter minimal resistance. But when something carries lasting impact, the spiritual atmosphere reacts. This does not mean you are under attack. It means you are in transition. And transitions often feel unstable before they settle. There is another important distinction to understand. Opposition tries to rush you, but heaven never does. If you felt pressure to act impulsively, explain yourself unnecessarily, or force outcomes, that was not divine urgency. It was distraction. God's urgency brings clarity. False urgency brings anxiety. Learning to tell the difference protects what has already been released. You may also have felt emotionally sensitive during this time. Things that normally would not affect you suddenly felt heavier. This is not weakness. It is exposure. When alignment shifts, your awareness increases. You notice more. You feel more. Archangel Michael says this heightened sensitivity is temporary. It is part of recalibration, not instability. Do not mislabel this season. You are not regressing. You are adjusting. When something new is introduced, the system adapts. Think of it as spiritual muscles stretching to accommodate increased capacity. Stretching can feel uncomfortable, but it is necessary for growth. Archangel Michael also wants to address the fear that resistance means delay. That is not true. Resistance does not slow God. It only attempts to slow your agreement. Heaven is not hindered by pressure, but pressure can hinder perception if you allow it. This is why staying grounded matters now. Another layer of resistance may have come through people, misunderstandings, unexpected tension, subtle discouragement. Not everyone around you is aligned with where you are going, even if they care about you. This does not mean they are against you. It means they cannot see what heaven has already seen. Discernment here is key. You are not required to convince anyone. Archangel Michael reminds you that resistance does not require reaction. Reaction feeds it. Stillness weakens it. When you do not panic, explain, or overcorrect, resistance loses leverage. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. It signals confidence without confrontation. Here is also a temptation during resistance to self-examine excessively, to replay decisions, to question motives, to look for mistakes. While reflection is healthy, overanalysis creates confusion. Heaven already confirmed alignment. You do not need to reevaluate what God has already validated. The resistance you felt also served a purpose. It revealed what no longer has authority over you. Old fears resurfaced, but they did not stay. Old doubts spoke, but they did not settle. That alone shows growth. What once controlled you now only passes through briefly. That is progress. Archangel Michael says this resistance is already weakening. Its role was temporary. It was allowed to surface so it could be confronted and released. You are not meant to carry it forward. As you continue in awareness, it will lose intensity. Here is the truth you must hold on to. Pressure does not negate promise. It confirms proximity. The closer something gets, the louder the environment can become. But volume does not equal authority. Heaven's word remains final. Rest in this understanding. You are not behind. You are not under threat. You are not failing. What you felt was proof that something real is unfolding. And now that you recognize it for what it is, it no longer has power over you. Archangel Michael leaves you with this assurance. Resistance was never meant to stop you. It was meant to show you how far you have already come. Archangel Michael now reveals what it truly means when the message says, "Open this before it arrives." This is not a metaphor meant to confuse you. It is a spiritual instruction meant to prepare you. Opening this does not mean forcing anything to happen. It does not mean rushing the outcome. It means aligning your inner posture with what heaven has already released so that when the miracle arrives, it is received smoothly, not resisted subconsciously. Many miracles are delayed not by heaven, but by lack of preparation on earth. God releases, but the human heart must be ready to hold what is given. Archangel Michael explains that preparation is not about effort. It is about readiness. It is about creating space internally so that what arrives does not clash with fear, old expectations, or outdated beliefs. Opening this before it arrives means releasing assumptions. You may already have an idea of how the miracle should look, who should be involved, or what path it should take. Those assumptions can unintentionally narrow what God is doing. Heaven often delivers differently than expected, not to disappoint, but to protect the blessing from limitation. When you let go of rigid expectations, you allow divine creativity to operate freely. It also means opening your awareness. Pay attention to what your spirit has been sensing lately. The subtle nudges, the repeated thoughts, the quiet redirections. These are not random. They are part of preparation. Archangel Michael says that guidance often comes before clarity. You are being led even if you do not yet see the destination. Opening this also involves emotional readiness. Sometimes we ask God for change, but we are emotionally attached to the familiar, even if the familiar was painful. Miracles require release. Release of old identities, old disappointments, and old versions of yourself. If you cling to what was, you might struggle to fully receive what is coming. Preparation asks, am I willing to let go of what no longer fits? There is also a practical aspect to opening this. It may involve making room in your life, mentally, emotionally, or even physically. This does not mean dramatic changes. It means alignment, clearing distractions, reordering priorities, creating margin. When God sends something new, it needs somewhere to land. Space is an invitation. Archangel Michael emphasizes that preparation does not accelerate God. It synchronizes you. The miracle is already moving at divine speed. Opening yourself now ensures you are moving at the same pace. This prevents shock, overwhelm, or confusion when it arrives. Instead of scrambling to adjust, you will recognize it with calm certainty. Another key element of opening this is trust. Trust that God knows what He is doing. Trust that the timing is intentional. Trust that what is coming will not harm you or derail you. When trust is present, reception becomes natural. When trust is absent, even good things can feel threatening. Archangel Michael urges you to examine where trust may need to be restored. You may notice that as you prepare, certain things feel heavier or less appealing than before. Conversations that drain you, habits that distract you, patterns that no longer serve you. This is not judgment, it is awareness. Preparation often reveals misalignment gently, so correction can happen without force. Opening this also means staying teachable. Even now, God may be refining your understanding, showing you new perspectives, softening certain attitudes. This is not because you were wrong before, but because you are growing. Growth requires flexibility. A closed posture resists growth. An open posture welcomes it. Archangel Michael also warns against passivity disguised as patience. Preparation is active in awareness, not in striving. It is listening, adjusting, responding when prompted, remaining still when instructed. It is a dynamic posture, not a stagnant one. You may feel moments of anticipation mixed with calm. That balance is intentional. Excitement without peace creates anxiety. Peace without anticipation creates complacency. God is cultivating both in you so that when the miracle arrives, you are neither overwhelmed nor indifferent. Remember this. Opening this before it arrives does not make you responsible for the outcome. It simply makes you ready for it. God remains the source. Heaven remains in control. Your role is alignment, not management. Archangel Michael says that those who prepare receive with clarity. Those who do not prepare receive with confusion. The miracle is the same, but the experience is different. Preparation determines experience. As you continue forward, let your heart remain open, your expectations flexible, and your trust steady. You are not waiting idly. You are preparing wisely. And when what has your name on it arrives, it will meet a heart that is ready to receive it fully. Archangel Michael speaks now with urgency wrapped in reassurance, because the window you are standing in is small, but it is still open. This does not mean you are running out of time. It means you are standing in a precise moment of alignment that is meant to be honored. not ignore. Heaven operates with seasons, and this season is marked by readiness, awareness, and responsiveness. A small window does not mean a weak opportunity. In the spiritual realm, small windows often carry the greatest weight. They are focused, intentional, purpose-driven. When God opens a window like this, it is because conditions have aligned perfectly. Too early, and you would not have been ready. Too late, and the impact would not be the same. You are here now because now is right. Archangel Michael clarifies something important. Urgency from heaven never produces fear. If you feel anxious, pressured, or panicked, that is not divine urgency. God's urgency brings clarity, calm focus, and inner steadiness. It does not rush you, it aligns you. The urgency in this moment is not about speed, it is about awareness. The danger with small windows is not missing them entirely, but treating them casually. Heaven has already responded. The miracle is already in motion. But your posture now determines how you step into what is coming. This is not a moment for distraction, overthinking, or emotional withdrawal. It is a moment for presence. You may feel a subtle pull toward stillness lately, a desire to simplify, a resistance to noise. This is not withdrawal, it is alignment. Archangel Michael says heaven often quiets the environment around you before something significant arrives. Noise interferes with recognition. Stillness sharpens it. There is also something protective about this window. Not everyone is meant to have access to it. Not everyone needs to understand what you are sensing. This is why discernment is crucial. Share selectively. Listen more than you speak. Allow God to finish what He started without unnecessary interference. Archangel Michael also warns against hesitation disguised as wisdom. Over-deliberation can close doors that obedience would walk through. This does not mean act impulsively. It means respond when clarity is present. You do not need full details to take the next step. You only need enough light for the step in front of you. The reason this window feels different is because it carries momentum. You are not starting something new from nothing. You are stepping into something that is already moving. Heaven has you ahead of you. Angels are already positioned. Circumstances are already shifting. Your role is to move with what is unfolding, not lag behind it. You may notice increased sensitivity during this time. You feel what is off more quickly. You sense alignment faster. This is not instability. It is discernment sharpening. God is fine-tuning your perception so you can navigate this window with wisdom. Another key aspect of this moment is restraint. Not every opportunity is meant to be pursued. Not every door is yours to open. Small windows require precision, not eagerness. Archangel Michael urges you to choose depth over breadth, focus over frenzy, alignment over activity. Heaven's timeline does not bend to hesitation, but it also does not punish reflection. Balance is essential. Stay open, but grounded. Stay expectant, but calm. This balance keeps the window open and the pathway clear. There is also reassurance here. Even if you feel unsure at times, the window remains open because your heart is aligned. God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for presence. Your willingness to stay aware keeps you positioned correctly. As this part of the message unfolds, allow yourself to feel the gravity of the moment without fear. This is not about pressure. It is about privilege. You are being trusted with awareness before manifestation. That alone is a gift. And remember this: small windows do not stay open forever, but they do stay open long enough for the aligned to walk through them. You are not late. You are not behind. You are here. You'll be glad you stayed for what's about to be revealed. Type "I am ready" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 582 is now activated. This window you are standing in is not only opening miracles for you, it is opening light for countless others who are searching for hope. As you release a seed through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are placing oil in God's hands and watching Him set hearts on fire. The Lord is saying, "What you sow in obedience, I release in abundance." I am speaking to you directly now. This is your moment to respond. Your giving becomes a prophetic yes that pushes this message into homes and hearts that desperately need it. I bless every giver with increase, clarity, and divine return. Act now. Obey the nudge, and use the PayPal link or QR code in the description to release your seed. Archangel Michael now delivers instruction with precision, because moments like this require clarity more than emotion. What unfolds in the next 24 to 72 hours is not about chasing the miracle, accelerating it, or proving that it is real. Heaven has already done its part. This window is about protecting alignment so that what has been released arrives without distortion, delay, or confusion. Instruction now is not restriction, it is preservation. The first instruction is to guard your words carefully. This is not a time for casual speech, even in private moments. When alignment is active, words carry amplified weight. Archangel Michael warns against speaking doubt aloud as a form of release. Vetting uncertainty may feel relieving in the moment, but it can create unnecessary turbulence in your perception. Choose language that is neutral or faith-filled. If you are unsure what to say, silence is safer than speculation. Quiet trust holds power. The second instruction is to avoid over-explaining yourself. In the next few days, you may feel an inner pressure to clarify decisions, justify choices, or make others understand where you are coming from. This pressure is not from heaven. Explanation is only required when God instructs it. When explanation is premature, it can weaken authority. Let alignment speak for itself. Outcomes will eventually answer questions that words cannot. The third instruction is rest, and this is critical. Rest is not disengagement. It is agreement. When you rest, you are signaling to the spiritual realm that you trust what God is doing beyond your control. Overthinking, overplanning, or staying constantly alert can pull you out of alignment. Archangel Michael says rest is a form of worship in this season. Choose rest without guilt. Stillness strengthens clarity. Another instruction is to observe what drains you unusually fast right now. Certain conversations, environments, or habits may suddenly feel heavier than before. This does not mean they are evil. It means they are misaligned with your current positioning. You are not required to confront everything or correct everyone. Sometimes obedience looks like stepping back quietly. Distance can be wisdom, not avoidance. Archangel Michael also instructs you to pay close attention to repetition. If the same thought, phrase, name, or idea continues to surface gently, do not ignore it. Repetition is one of heaven's clearest signals. This does not mean immediate action is required, but awareness is. Acknowledge it internally. Write it down if needed. Recognition often precedes clarity. There is also instruction regarding patience with people. Others may move slower than you. Some may not sense what you sense. This is not resistance. It is difference in assignment. Avoid frustration. Avoid comparison. What is unfolding for you does not require collective understanding. Alignment does not need approval to function. Another warning is against spiritual overload. While encouragement is beneficial, consuming too many voices can blur discernment. Not every message, teaching, or opinion is meant for this window. Archangel Michael advises discernment even with spiritual content. Choose what reinforces peace, steadiness, and trust. If something increases anxiety or urgency, step away from it for now. Gratitude is also a key instruction. Gratitude anchors you in trust and stabilizes perception. You do not need to wait for the miracle to arrive before being thankful. Gratitude now strengthens faith and keeps your heart receptive. Even simple acknowledgments of peace, clarity, or provision matter. You may feel tempted to constantly check for signs, outcomes, or confirmation. While confirmation will come, obsession creates tension. Archangel Michael encourages you to live normally. Do what is in front of you. Be present. Miracles often arrive while life is moving forward, not while it is paused in anticipation. There is also a call to action in this moment, not as pressure, but as prophetic agreement. When you like this message, comment in alignment, subscribe to this channel, or share this word with someone who needs reassurance. You are not engaging casually. You are declaring agreement. You are saying, I receive this. I am aligned with this. I am positioned for this. Agreement strengthens reception. Do not underestimate the power of visible alignment. The next 24 to 72 hours are not about making drastic decisions unless God clearly instructs you. They are about maintaining clarity. Small choices matter more than big gestures right now. What you dwell on, what you give your attention to, what you choose to ignore. His choices shape your experience of what is coming. You may notice moments where anticipation rises and then settles into calm. That balance is intentional. Do not disrupt it by mentally rushing ahead. Stay grounded in the present. Heaven is already ahead of you. You do not need to chase what is already on its way. And here is the final instruction Archangel Michael gives for this window. Trust the process without demanding full understanding. Understanding often follows arrival. Faith now is sufficient. If you feel something stirring quietly as you hear this, that is not imagination. It is alignment. Something is stabilizing. Something is clearing. Something is preparing to step into view. Stay with this message. What comes next brings clarity you didn't even realize you were waiting for. Archangel Michael now reveals the confirmation signs you will begin to notice, not so you become dependent on signs, but so you recognize reassurance when it appears. God does not always announce his movements loudly. Often, he confirms them gently, through patterns, shifts, and subtle changes that speak to the spirit before they make sense to the mind. These confirmations are not meant to rush you. They are meant to steady you. One of the first confirmations you may notice is a change in your inner atmosphere. Where anxiety once lingered, there is a growing sense of calm. This peace may arrive without explanation, even while circumstances remain unresolved. Archangel Michael says this peace is not emotional, it is positional. It is the result of alignment. When heaven has secured something, it releases peace as a signal that you are safe to trust the process. Another confirmation may appear through clarity. Thoughts that once felt tangled begin to settle. Decisions that felt overwhelming start to feel manageable. You may not suddenly have all the answers, but you will sense direction. Confusion begins to lose its grip. This clarity is not forced. It unfolds naturally. It is a sign that resistance is weakening and alignment is strengthening. You may also notice repetition in your environment. Words, numbers, themes, or messages may surface repeatedly in gentle ways. These are not coincidences. They are reminders. Heaven often uses repetition to reassure you that you are still on the right path. Archangel Michael cautions you not to obsess over these signs. Simply acknowledge them. Recognition is enough. Another confirmation can come to unexpected emotional release. You may find yourself letting go of something that once felt heavy without consciously trying. Old disappointments, regrets, or fears may lose their emotional charge. This release is not something you manufacture. It happens because the burden no longer has a reason to stay. What heaven removes, it often removes quietly. You may also notice a shift in how you respond to situations that once triggered you. Things that would have unsettled you before no longer hold the same power. This is a sign of internal strengthening. Archangel Michael says, when God prepares you for something new, he fortifies you inwardly first. External change follows internal stability. Another confirmation may come through divine interruption. Plans may change unexpectedly, but without chaos. A delay may actually feel like protection. A closed door may bring relief instead of frustration. These interruptions are not setbacks. They are adjustments. Heaven is fine-tuning the environment to support what is coming. You may also experience moments of sudden gratitude. Not forced thankfulness, but spontaneous appreciation for small things. This is significant. Gratitude that arises naturally is a sign that trust is taking root. It shows that your spirit is recognizing provision before manifestation. Archangel Michael also mentions confirmation through timing. Things may begin to line up in subtle ways. Conversations happen at the right moment. Information arrives when you need it. Help appears without being requested. These are signs of orchestration. God is arranging details quietly, without drawing attention to himself. Do not be surprised if confirmation also comes through contrast. You may clearly see what no longer fits. Certain paths, actions, or relationships may lose their appeal. This is not loss. It is discernment. As alignment sharpens, misalignment becomes more obvious. This clarity protects you from distractions. Another important confirmation is the absence of panic. Even when uncertainty remains, panic no longer dominates your thinking. This does not mean you have no questions. It means fear is no longer leading them. Archangel Michael says, when heaven has secured an outcome, fear loses authority, even if the process is still unfolding. You may also sense an increase in patience that feels different than before. It is not passive waiting, it is grounded expectancy. You are not counting days anxiously. You are living attentively. This kind of patience is evidence that something is already settled internally. One of the most overlooked confirmations is rest. Not physical tiredness, but emotional rest. You may sleep more deeply. Your mind may feel quieter. This rest is not escape. It is restoration. God often restores energy before he reveals outcomes. Archangel Michael reminds you not to dismiss these confirmations just because they are subtle. Subtle does not mean insignificant. In fact, the most lasting changes often begin quietly. Loud miracles can be exciting, but quiet ones are often transformative. It is also important not to compare your confirmations to someone else's experiences. God communicates uniquely with each person. What confirms alignment for you may look different from what confirms it for another. Trust what resonates with peace, clarity, and steadiness. As these confirmations appear, receive them without pressure. Do not demand more. Do not rush ahead. Let them do their work. Confirmation is not meant to replace faith. It is meant to support it. Archangel Michael leaves you with this assurance. If you are noticing even one of these signs, you are not imagining things. Heaven is communicating with you gently, consistently, and intentionally. What has been released is drawing closer, and as it does, clarity will continue to increase, not decrease. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. The signs are not a miracle, but they are proof that the miracle is on its way. Archangel Michael now prepares you for something that is essential to understand, because misunderstanding this could cause unnecessary confusion when the miracle arrives. What God is releasing will come differently than you expect, not because your expectation was wrong, but because divine wisdom often chooses a path that bypasses fear, control, and limitation. Heaven does not deliver blessings in predictable packaging. It delivers them in ways that protect their purpose. Many people miss miracles not because they do not arrive, but because they arrive disguised. Disguised as conversations, as timing shifts, as redirections, as opportunities that look smaller than expected. Archangel Michael says God often conceals his greatest gifts in forms that require discernment rather than excitement. This ensures the miracle reaches the right hands without interference. You may have imagined a specific outcome, a specific person involved, a specific sequence of events. That imagination was not wrong. It helped you hope. But now, heaven asks you to loosen your grip on the details. Expectation is healthy, but attachment to form can limit recognition. God's way is often simpler, quieter, and more precise than the version we construct in our minds. One reason the miracle arrives differently is protection. If it came exactly as expected, it might attract attention before it is fully established. It might invite opinions before it has taken root. Heaven sometimes delivers subtly so the blessing can grow without pressure. What is fragile in the early stages must be shielded, not showcased. Another reason is maturity. Archangel Michael reveals that God often changes the form of delivery when he knows you are ready to recognize value without spectacle. Earlier seasons may have required obvious signs. This season invites discernment. You no longer need fireworks to believe. Quiet alignment is enough. You may also notice that when it arrives, it feels familiar yet new at the same time. Familiar because it resonates deeply. New because it challenges assumptions. This balance is intentional. God stretches you without overwhelming you. He confirms you without coddling you. Growth requires both comfort and extension. Do not be surprised if the miracle enters through an unexpected door. A conversation you did not anticipate. A change you did not plan. A delay that turns out to be strategic. Archangel Michael says divine surprises are not meant to destabilize you. They are meant to free you from rigid thinking. Another important truth is this: the miracle may solve more than one thing at once. You may have been focused on a specific issue, but God addresses roots, not just symptoms. When heaven moves, it often resolves multiple layers simultaneously. This can make the outcome feel broader or different than expected, but more effective. You may also find that when it arrives, it does not come with loud emotional highs. Instead, it brings relief, stability, a deep sense of this fits. That quiet rightness is often the clearest sign of divine alignment. Archangel Michael says peace is often the final confirmation. There is also a humbling aspect to unexpected delivery. It reminds you that God's ways are higher, not to diminish you, but to expand your trust. When you realize God did it better than you imagined, gratitude deepens. Trust strengthens. Dependence shifts from outcomes to relationship. Some people struggle at this stage because they try to reinterpret the miracle to match their original expectation. Resist that urge. Let it be what it is. Honor what God has done, not what you thought He would do. Appreciation unlocks fullness. Resistance creates distance. Archangel Michael also warns against comparison when the miracle arrives. Someone else's breakthrough may look louder, faster, more dramatic. It does not diminish yours. Heaven customizes outcomes based on calling, capacity, and timing. What is right for you may not impress others, but it will sustain you. You may also notice that the miracle requires participation after arrival, not effort to earn it, but wisdom to steward it. God does not drop blessings and walk away. He invites you into partnership. This is not burden, it is honor. Stewardship turns moments into seasons. Another reason the miracle arrives differently is to break old narratives. You may have believed that things only work out in certain ways, or that progress must follow a familiar pattern. God disrupts these narratives to free you from limitation. New wine requires new understanding. Archangel Michael emphasizes this strongly. Do not reject what feels unfamiliar simply because it challenges your expectation. Pause. Discern. Ask for clarity, not control. What feels unfamiliar may actually be the answer you prayed for, just delivered through a wiser route. As you prepare for arrival, release the need to predict. Prediction narrows perception. Presence expands it. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. And remember this: the miracle arriving differently does not mean it is less than you hoped. Often, it means it is more than you imagined, just revealed in a way that ensures it lasts. Archangel Michael leaves you with this assurance. When it arrives, you will recognize it, not by shock but by resonance. Your spirit will know. And when it does, you will understand why heaven chose this way, this time, for you. Archangel Michael now brings this message to its appointed conclusion, not with uncertainty, but with deep assurance and divine finality. Evidence of heaven that is funded and heaven that others would have released. What began as a simple act of obedience, a quiet decision, or a moment of surrender has now become a sealed movement in the spiritual realm. This message was never meant to stir temporary emotion. It was sent to establish lasting certainty. God has already answered. The miracle is already moving, and nothing remains undecided in heaven concerning you. This is the moment where striving must end. You are not required to prove anything further. You are not waiting for God to make up his mind. Heaven is not observing you to see if you qualify. Qualification was settled the moment alignment occurred. What remains now is trust, not effort. Rest, not pressure. Awareness, not anxiety. Archangel Michael says peace is your confirmation in this closing moment. Not the absence of questions, but the absence of inner turmoil. Even if details remain unclear, your spirit has begun to settle because it recognizes truth. This calm is not emotional relief, it is spiritual assurance. When heaven secures an outcome, it releases peace as a sign that nothing is left unresolved. Understand this clearly. Waiting does not mean nothing is happening. Waiting means something is unfolding with precision. God works in layers, not chaos. Timing, coordination, and preparation are all aligning so that when the miracle arrives, it arrives complete. No missing pieces, no rush outcomes, no regret attached. Heaven does not hurry what must endure. You are stepping into a season where trust feels lighter than before. Not because life suddenly becomes effortless, but because your foundation has strengthened. What once destabilized you will no longer hold the same power. What once confused you will begin to clarify. This is growth born from alignment, not coincidence or chance. Archangel Michael reminds you that this miracle is not only about resolution, it is about positioning. God is not simply answering a request. He is preparing you for what follows the answer. Some miracles are gateways. They open doors to responsibilities, opportunities, and influence you could not manage in previous seasons. Preparation always precedes expansion. Do not fear change as it begins to reveal itself. Change under God's direction never strips you. It equips you. Even what you release voluntarily will be replaced with something better suited for where you are going. God never subtracts without intention. He exchanges, refines, and restores. As this message closes, allow gratitude to rise naturally. Not as performance, not as obligation, but as recognition. Gratitude anchors your heart in truth and keeps your spirit receptive. Quiet gratitude is powerful. It communicates trust without words. It tells heaven, I know you are faithful. Archangel Michael now releases a final assurance. You will not miss what is meant for you. What has your name on it carries divine navigation. It will find you at the right time, in the right way, without confusion. You do not need to chase it. You only need to remain aligned. Let go of fear. Let go of self-doubt. Let go of the need to control outcomes. Heaven has already handled what you could not. Your role now is to stay present, grounded, and open. This is not the end of the story. It is the confirmation before manifestation. Heaven wanted you to know, before it arrives, that it is real, intentional, and secured by God Himself. Rest now. Stay aware. Remain aligned. Type IT is done in the comments if this message resonates with you. Blessing code 901 is now activated. What you have just received is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to flow through you like a living river. The Lord is declaring, as you sow into my work, I release harvest into lives you may never meet. I am speaking to you directly now, because your obedience in this moment carries prophetic weight. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are placing oil into God's hands and watching Him ignite light in dark places. This is not a donation. It is divine partnership. I speak blessing over every giver, declaring increase, protection, and open heavens over your household. Act now in obedience. Release your seed through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code on screen, and watch God multiply what you place in His hands.